This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So yesterday we had a introduction on our roles as a consultant and the developer role. I explained also administrator. So today we will see the SAP HCM submodules, guys. Okay, I'm just going to give you some idea on SAP HR submodules. So this is a bigger module. One is a HR, another one is a finance, and the sales and distribution. These three are very bigger functional modules. Okay, bigger than any other functional modules in the system, because these modules again further divided into submodules, many submodules. As I mentioned yesterday, one cannot learn everything. Okay, we will choose two or three submodules and we try to get an expert level knowledge in it. Then we'll get the jobs in it. We'll get to work on it. Okay, so yeah, some companies they don't mention the submodule name in the job description. Okay, if there is open position, they would say we need a SAP HCM consultant. So until you get the job and you join in that company, you get the job and you are assigned with that client, you don't know what type of module you are going to work in. Okay, it could be OM or a PA or a time or a payroll, or maybe during the interview you may ask the interviewer, so what is this requirement for it? Okay, otherwise some companies, because the higher level or HR manager do not have a knowledge on it, so they just mention SAP HCM consultant is required. But some companies they clearly mention in the job description the consultant should have a payroll India payroll knowledge, the consultant should have a US payroll knowledge, the consultant should have a time management, positive time management knowledge. Like this the job description says. Some companies specially ask you, but some companies generic where they mention it like SAP HCM consultant is required. Okay, so mostly you will come to know, because no, it is a very small world. If there is a company has a openings, definitely you will come to know one way or other way. So this opening is for so and so project, and you are going to be assigned with this so and so module. Okay, so now this SAP HR, these entire modules, all the list of the modules can be further divided into two categories, guys. Two categories. Okay, one is you can say core modules. The another one is talent management modules. Okay, core modules and the talent management modules groups. So when I say core modules, let's have a small introduction on each and every submodule and how important it is in real time. The very first one, in shortcut OM, so we call it as a organization management. So basically, this organization management deals with the organization structure of the client. So there is a company, that company, under that company there are legal entities, like a Tata Group is a company, Tata Power, Tata Motors, Tata Steel are the legal entities. Under each legal entity there are departments: HR, finance, sales, material management. Like this, within each department there are positions, and again within that positions there is a hierarchy. So general manager is a higher level position in the department, and who is a manager of associate managers. The associate managers are the managers of, let's say, executives. The executives are the managers of trainees. Like this, there is a hierarchy of arguments, there is a hierarchy of positions. The reason we implement this module is in real time for the customer. The SAP system should know who is reporting to who. Okay, so that is very important for the system. So this this is called workflow in real time. Okay, the reason again why it is so important, this workflow. For example, as an employee, you submit your leave request. So shouldn't it be approved by the manager? So system should know who is a manager of this employee, so that it will send that work item to the manager's inbox. So there should be a hierarchy. Okay, the hierarchy from higher level to lower level direction, or lower level to higher direction, it must be created in the system among the positions. Then only the system will know who is a manager to which position. Understood? So basically, organization management is a the hierarchy of org units. Okay, hierarchy of positions, that is called organization management in the system. Okay, so the companies are departmentalization is very common in the companies, right? They divide the entire business into, departments, depending on the nature of work, the working time conditions, the skills required. Okay, the targets of the group. Based on this, they define departments within the company in order to have better control on each and every business function. Okay, so they bisect the entire business into they divide this entire business into multiple departments or divisions or units, right? So this hierarchy of a units, and within each department, hierarchy of a positions. So this is what the OM is. Okay, see, when I say org chart, when you go to a company, on the wall there is organization chart that explains who is a manager to whom. Yes or no? Right? So it's the same thing in the system. Okay, not just the administrator, the system should know who is a manager to who, so that it send the workflow request to the managers. Clear? Any question on this module, guys? And again, this module is not mandatory. Some companies may implement this module, some companies just ignore it. Okay, so they go with the personal administration, time management, and payroll. Clear? OM is not always optional. So it is 50-50 percentages. So 50% of the companies do not use OM, another 50 will be using OM. Is it understood, all of you?
Yeah, clear.
Okay. The next module is a PA in shortcut, which is personal, NNEL. NNEL, personal means employee, right? Employee administration. So it is basically employee data administration. So in HR, employee is everything. So 90% of the part is employee only, employee data. HR means. And of course, we do have applicant, but that is permitted to only recruitment module. But when it comes to the employee, we have a payroll, it is for the employee only. Time and labor administration, it is for employee only. Training and development, it is again for the employee. Performance appraisal, compensation management. So in HR, it is 90%. The data is only for the employee. So this is a very crucial module and mandatory module. Everyone must learn this module to get into the other modules. So without learning a PA, no one can get into any other modules, guys. Personal administration. So this is a module where you have a number of applications to maintain or manage the employee data. Okay, employees data is frequently changed, right? uh, Based on the certain personal events, based on the certain organizational or employment events. For example, when employee get promoted, so there is a change in the data. When employee is transferred, there is a change in the data you need to do. When employee salary increment, when employee terminated, rehired, retired, it is the employee data you need to change in the system. So this is a platform. PA, personal administration, is a platform where employee data is created, modified, deleted, or it can be viewed. Clear? It is totally for the employee data management. So this is a mandatory module, and you are going to start from here, personal administration module, and you will soon get into the payroll module. Okay, so we will cover some of the time related topics which are required. Our main focus is to become a payroll expert, SAP HR payroll expert, because that's where we have too many openings, particularly in India. Okay, the reason is the payroll based companies are there in India. There are many payroll based companies. They particularly look for the SAP HR with a skill set payroll admins, payroll consulting. So 80% of openings are in payroll only. And payroll, it's only when you learn a payroll module you become a SAP HCM consultant, guys. Otherwise it is not clear, because if you simply depend on OM, PA or a time, very less number of openings on these areas. Okay, but the payroll, you just hit it in the Google, SAP HR payroll openings, and you will come to know how many openings are there. But if you want to get into the payroll or a time and labor administration, PA is compulsory. Okay, these two, OM and PA, are very very simple modules. Okay, very simple topics, and whoever teaches, they teach the same template topics. Okay, they can't teach more. Okay, this is all, there are 15 topics, and that's it. You need to learn in PA, not more than that. No one can teach anything else in PA and OM. But there is a third module, which is a time and labor administration. In SAP it is called personal time management. What is the role of a personal time administration in the company? Anyone? Time department? Hmm? Anyone? Why the companies have a time and labor administration? What do they do? What is the role?
Maintain the time sheet, time schedule.
Might be a login and logout.
Maintain the standard working hours, like first login, last log out.
Time and management will help the availability of the employee on which the company has to pay basis on their availability and the leaves they have for the month or year.
Okay. One minute. Somebody is not able to log in. I shared them already. Yeah. Okay. So in a company, uh, if you look at the payroll, which will be definitely there, because employees must be paid. But to pay the employee, what is the basis? Okay, the basis is the scheduled work, whether he worked or not. We need to trace it. Or he worked extra time, we need to trace it. Whether he has taken a paid leave or unpaid leave, we need to trace it. So anything related to the employee time and attendance is handled in the time management. Okay, is handled in the time management. So there are two ways of uh, uh, providing a solution for the time and time management, guys. One is a negative time and the one is a positive time, and positive time is a very complex scenarios. Okay, negative time is something that anyone can implement with a basic time knowledge. So to explain positive time itself, it will take at least 2.5 to 3 months again separately for it. So because we have a very less number of openings on it, we will be learning the time management that is required for payroll. That's all. Okay. So we don't need to waste our time on it. So here mainly, uh, we will be creating a work schedules. Means uh, the moment you join in a company, the administrator will assign you the shift plan. So this is a shift plan you need to follow. It could be a general shift or afternoon shift or a night shift plan, right? So there is a plan or a pattern of the shifts that you need to follow, right? And that is called work schedule. So the work schedules are created in the time management. Okay. And after that, you will be logging in, log out, right? You will be swiping in the company and swipe out. So based on the swipe in and swipe out, the system will be able to calculate the late comings, early outs. Okay, you left early, or you came late and you worked overtime or not, and you stayed late night work. Okay, so the system will be able to identify these times and then pay you accordingly in the payroll. Okay, so this is also a bigger module. Even see, the persons with the time expert level knowledge, they get the job and they have a good demand also. Okay, but the projects are very limited on it. Okay, now if I explain the time management for a, let's say, 100 students, hardly 10 to 15 will be able to learn this topic by the end of the course. The reason is there are very tricky logics in it. Okay, all arithmetic based calculations only. It is not coding again, it is how you are building a logic that is important. So that's why we have very less number of positive consultants in India. Okay, so personal time management is one module. And fourth module, payroll, UI. Okay, payroll, very complex, not complex, very lengthy. So there are too many scenarios we need to cover. A lengthier module. So if this entire course takes 5 to 6 months of the time, then only the payroll itself will take a 3.5 months time. Okay, the payroll itself will take a 3 to 3.5 months time, because my main focus is on the payroll only. So we will be covering each and every topic in the payroll. Okay, so almost there is no scenario that we are going to leave in our discussion. Okay, day-to-day discussion, we will be covering every scenario. Now when it comes to the payroll again, so if you learn payroll, it's not that you will be able to work in any country. Okay, any country payroll is very much country specific. Okay, payroll is very much country specific. So in payroll, the 70% part only common for all the countries. 70% part only common for all countries. The remaining, this is called global payroll topics. Okay, the 70% is just a approximate figure, not exact figure. Okay, so global payroll topics. So first we will be learning the global payroll topics. Okay, to get into the country specific topics, we must be good at this global payroll topics. If you don't learn this global payroll topics, you cannot get into the country specific topics. Okay, so that is the addition to this global payroll topics. So we will be first starting with the basics and then complete the global payroll topics. Then we will be covering in this program, in this training program, India and USA. Okay, India and USA. So one country I will be explaining the live sessions, another country I'll be sharing the record, another country I'll be sharing the recorded videos. Okay, so any country, if majority of you choose the Indian payroll, we will discuss Indian payroll. Others, if you choose US, we will discuss US payroll. Indian payroll, I'll give you the recorded videos. Or else I'll give you one more option. The another batch, the other country will be going on, you can parallelly attend that one also. Okay, for the country specific part. So in your batch you can learn India, in other batch you can learn USA. So these two countries, the major openings in India. Of course we have openings in UK payroll, Canada payrolls also. Okay, but in this training program we will be covering India and USA. uh, if you are at least at strong at two to three countries, right, the other countries is not a complex. Okay, you can learn, you can explore the other countries knowledge on your own. The reason is, if you look at this documentation, SAP provided documentation. Somebody was asking about SAP document yesterday. You see, I'll give you this link. Okay, if you go to this SAP help.sap.com, this is a portal. The documentation is a open source, guys. Okay, so these are the modules like talent management module, personal management. In this, we have personal administration, okay, benefits, right? So we have a payroll here, PY. If you click on it, see every country knowledge is given. Okay, suppose you are given with Thailand, which you do not know. Okay, now go to Thailand, you start reading the documentation about it. Okay, what are the gross part scenarios, net part scenarios? Now if you go to the net part scenario Thailand, you will see there is a tax, there is an employer absorbed tax, there is a social security, provident fund, termination, student loan. So these are the topics which you need to learn related to Thailand. Then immediately you can go to the Thailand taxation. Okay, so you can go to the data. This you will understand once you learn the international part automatically, guys. So each and every data you will learn it. There are examples given for the calculations. Okay, so you will understand the complete taxation here. At least you will get a 70% of the Thailand specific knowledge, guys. Or else what you can do is download PDF, create custom PDF. Now go to Thailand tax, download, create a PDF. Okay, so this is the way you can download it topic wise. So SAP documentation is a very open source document. Again, if you see, there are some forums where people will be discussing, sharing the knowledges, guys. For example, wiki. This is another thing that I approach. Okay, look at it. So there are some people will be preparing the documents, and then they will be sharing the documents here. For example, if you look at the Indian payroll, so the topics in Indian payroll, you will see the topics in Indian payroll. Okay, so they'll explain with the screens and calculations and everything. Okay, so SAP, there are many portals like this. So learning something that you which is not covered in the course, or which is assigned to you in a real time, is easier. Just that you need to have some time and patience. Okay, so then you can explore this thing on your own, and you can start implementing it. When I learned SAP, I learned some portion of US payroll, not completely, but during this 14 years of 15 years of experience, 14 years of experience, uh, I worked on almost 9 countries. So every time the project come to me, new project is assigned to me, new country is assigned to me, my first approach is a SAP library. My first approach is SAP library. So topic wise, I will download the documents and start reading them and log in into SAP system, and I'll see each node wise documentation also there. So everywhere there is a document, guys. Field wise documentation is provided in SAP. I think this is the one technology where you get the help at a field level, every field level. If it, somebody, guys, somebody is speaking. Kumari, Kumari, keep yourself in mute, please. So in SAP field, for example, if you don't understand this field, keep the cursor there and click on help. Immediately you get the documentation. So there are many ways to explore SAP on your own. Okay. So there are SAP forums. For example, if you ask it in the Google itself, how to create enterprise structure in SAP HR. See, someone explained here with a screenshot. and theory also. So this is a one kind of forum where the discussions will go on. See, right from the login, what to do. Okay, the screens they explain. So almost every scenario will be explained in one node, one portal or other portal, guys. you just have, you just need to have a time and patience. Okay, clear? Understood? So payroll. So some people ask me directly, I want to learn US payroll. Are you teaching US payroll? Then I ask them, so are you a fresher to SAP? They say yes, I'm fresher to SAP. Okay. Then how do you get into the US payroll directly without knowing a PA and without knowing a time scenarios, without knowing a payroll international? So somebody might have told them that SAP payroll, US payroll is doing good, you learn. But it's not that. Okay. You need to start with the personal administration at least first. Okay, and then you need to learn some of the time scenarios because time is very much integrated with the payroll, and so you need to learn the time scenarios, and then you get into the payroll. In payroll also you can't directly go to US payroll topics. So first you complete the international topics, the topics which are common in every country. Okay, after completion of that international payroll topics, then we get US payroll topics. Understood? So that's the way you need to learn this. So it's not like you directly learn the time management, you directly learn payroll. Okay, that is not correct. You must, every fresher must start with the personal administration module at least, or OM even better, and then PA. Okay, the fifth core module here is the benefits. This is not there in all the countries, guys. HR benefits. Okay, benefits module. Particularly when you are implementing SAP for USA, you will also have to work on a benefits. Okay, so the one who is working in a payroll, US payroll, should also learn the benefits integration and some knowledge on the US benefits, because these benefits generally are the part of payroll again in USA. See, in India, you purchase insurance plan. Okay, insurance plan, health plans, um, saving plans, all these are outside, right? And you get the salary and you pay it from pocket. It is nowhere related to employer. But in USA, it is not like that. The company will provide you the plan options. The company will tie up with a vendor. That vendor give the plan options to all the employees of this company. Okay, you purchase this plan, this is a cost. You purchase this saving plan, this is a cost. You purchase this insurance plan, this is a cost. So they provide all these options to the employees. Then employee will be enrolling himself and his family into that benefit. So that means this company is going to deduct some portion of some contribution amount from the employee salary paid to the benefit provider. So this happens to the payroll. Okay, in USA, UK, and Canada, these countries, it happens to the payroll. So you should learn. I mean, if you are working in USA, you should learn the benefits to a certain extent. Okay, earlier benefit consultant itself is a different one. Uh, there should be a separate benefit implementation consultant, payroll implementation consultant separately for implementation projects. But for the support projects, it is a payroll consultant who will be also supporting the benefits module. But for implementation, there has to be a separate consultant. Okay, so we have to have a separate benefit consultant. We have to have a separate payroll consultant because both modules are a bigger one. One cannot implement both. It is very difficult for him. I mean, it is very difficult to manage the time. Okay, because it's a time-taking modules. Understood? The core modules part, all of you. Any question in the core modules? This is the area where we will be covering during this program, guys. Okay, I'll be explaining the benefits related. Uh, I have not covered earlier, but I'll be covering this topic starting from the your previous batch benefits module. So I'll take a weekend to complete this benefits topics. Okay, at a higher level at least. When you get this kind of requirements, so you will be able to work on it. Now the talent management. Talent management is again a separate skill set here. Okay, a separate skill set. Uh, Basically, talent acquisition, guys. Which module it is? Hmm? Talent acquisition means what?
Recruit and onboarding.
Yeah, it is recruitment. It is recruitment. Yeah, talent acquisition. So we have a e-recruitment module in SAP. Is again portal based. SAP HCM, I mean SAP HCM functional consultant should also have a knowledge on the portal to certain extent. Portal means URL. So it is a UI. Okay, I'll explain what is a portal in a while. Talent acquisition and then talent retention. What is it? How how the companies retain the talents? How does the company retain their talents? Means skilled workers.
Like providing extra benefits and the work-life balance.
Okay, it is by paying proper compensation to the employee, right? That is the first factor, obviously. If someone is leaving the company, okay, what will be the first factor?
Pay hikes.
Hmm? So it's mainly the salary, right? After that, only the work pressure and all other factors. So to retain the talent, it is a compensation management. It is a separate administration, guys. They do the surveys, job pricing surveys, how the other companies are paying in, for the same job profile in the same industry. Okay, so they get this survey, what is the maximum salary paying, minimum salary paying, and they arrive the reference salary or mid salary, and they compare that with our company uh, jobs salary. Okay, so based on that, they should have a knowledge on how other companies are paying. If not, then the companies cannot retain their talents, right? If other companies are paying that, if the skill set is in a huge demand, the other companies definitely will take the employees with the higher price, right? So this is a very important module for the companies, talent talent retention. So we call it as a compensation management. Okay. So in SAP it is called enterprise compensation management. The main objective of this enterprise compensation management is salary increment and paying the variable pay, calculating the variable pays. Okay, compensation, enterprise compensation management. In shortcut, we call it as a ECM. Okay. Next, talent measuring. What is it? How do you measure the talents?
Performance.
Experience.
Performance. Employee performance.
Yes, performance administration. Okay, so talent measuring means it's a performance management system is a module we have in SAP. Next, talent improvising. Hmm? Talent improvising. What is it? Training and development. Yes or no? So in SAP it is called learning solutions. In SAP it is called learning solutions. So these are the talent management modules, guys. Okay, recruitment, compensation management, performance management, okay, and the learning solutions, LSO in shortcut. So anyone who is working on who choose this skill set, it's not just a SAP HCM knowledge, they should also have a portal knowledge. So what is a portal? Okay, now look at this. Apart from these two group of modules, you can call this, there is a third module which is a UI, user interface, which I call it as a portal. In portal, when you join in a company, for example a IT company, that company will give you the user ID and password to log in into the company portal. Why? What is the reason? What is the reason, guys?
For security purpose.
No, how does it secure anything? So the company will give you the user ID and password for the portal, company portal. Hmm? Tell me, guys, how's it? What is the reason?
It's only
See, when
providing
you
you the access.
to access to what? Access to what?
Access to the URL. I mean,
What do you do? That's what I'm asking. What do you
see,
do in the?
basically we just perform. I mean, whatever the requirement you have, we just perform. I mean, for that, basically they're providing the access to us.
Okay, let me ask you this way. When you open a bank account, okay, the company is, that bank is giving you a portal user ID password. Yes or no? To log
Yep.
into the personal banking. Yes or no,
Yes.
guys?
Yes.
So what do you do there? You can update your personal information, pay information. You can run your transactions on your own. Okay, maybe you can change the address online. So you can have a access to your account to certain extent. Okay, without going to the bank and then depending on a bank administrator there. So this is called self-service. Okay, so we have a self-service. You see these self-services are nowadays very uh, uh, widely increased. I mean, this service portals, for example, other self-service, you don't need to go to other center to update the address. If you have a proof, you log in with the user ID and password, your Aadhaar number, you'll get a mobile OTP, then you access your account. In that there is an option to change the address. You upload the address proof, then within a 2 or 3 days they'll approve it. So isn't it a self service? Are you depending on anyone to do this? No, right? So the self service portals to great extent reduce the job of administrators. The reason why companies give you the portal access, companies portal access, for a payslip downloading, you don't have to go to the HR administrator. Do we need to go to HR administrator for payslip? No, right? You can directly go to the portal and then access the payslip. If you want to submit the leave, again you don't need to go and inform to anyone. You open the portal and you will see your leave balances, and then select the leave type from this date to this date. I want to take a leave, submit it, it goes for the approval. Okay, so when your dependents are increased, for example, you earlier you were single, now you got married, so your wife, I mean dependent information you need to update in the system. Do we need to go to HR? No, we can update it. So the self services are reducing the HR users and users like administrator accesses. Imagine if this portal access is not given to you, how do you get the payslip? Okay, how do you get the payslip? How do you apply the leaves? Okay, you directly go to the HR and request, right? If you want to update your personal information, okay, you go to the HR and ask him to update the personal information because you can't have access. Okay, imagine if you want to transfer from the amount from one account to another account, you have personal banking. You don't need to go to the bank and ask the executive to transfer the amount. If this personal banking is not there, everyone will be depending on the bank executives there. So the bank executives job there, okay, will be increased to a great extent. So that's what the self service portal is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in SAP, in companies also, SAP has its own portal. So this is a SAP server. To the server, only the administrators will be having access. But now this is a portal. Okay, self-service portal. The portal is not a database. Okay, it is just a UI, user interface. Okay, UI. So the moment, so here, the moment you give a user ID and password, okay, in backend, this user ID and password mapped to the employee ID in the SAP server. So the moment we give a user ID and password and login, automatically the request goes to the backend SAP data and then show the employee information, which means you are the one who logged in, so it will show your information. See, when you go to the personal banking, the moment you give a user ID and password, it is your account information you are viewing there, right? You cannot access to the other account's information. Yes or no? So how is it possible? The user ID and the password that you are using is associated with your account number in the backend. So the moment you log in into the personal banking, if this request is going to the bank server and fetching the account information onto the portal. So you will be able to see your information on the screen, right? So this portal doesn't hold any data. It will provide you an option to manage the data to a certain extent. Understood? If this self-service portals are not there, now all bankings cannot handle this customers number of customers request. Everyone will go to the bank and then executives will be always busy. Okay, it is very secure. So now, related to HR, we have two topics here: employee self-service, managerial self-service. Okay, employee can view his own org chart. Okay, his hierarchy or somebody else's hierarchy he can view. He can update his own information, personal information. Okay, to certain extent, he can apply the leaves. Okay, he can download his payslip, and he can see any internal job postings and apply for them if he is interested. So compensation management, nothing much. Yeah, he can submit his self appraisal, then it will go to the manager for the rating. He can see what are the trainings ongoing in the company. He can enroll in the training, and then manager will approve it, so he can attend the training. So employee no need to go to HR for any one of this. He can do all this stuff on his own in this portal itself. So if there is a company having a lakhs of employees, okay, in the see in the absence of this portal, so how much job is increased for the administrator, right? Clear? Now managerial self-service. MSS means managerial self-service, particularly approvals, guys. The manager will be approving the employee leave request, okay, self appraisal request, training request, okay, anything like let's say in payroll, reimbursement submission, claim request. So it is for the managers to provide the approvers to their own employees, their subordinates, or also to manage the subordinates data to certain extent. So in portal, we have something called employee self-service and managerial self-service, which is now which is considered as a separate submodule of SAP HR. Okay, so it is not only backend SAP configuration, this portal configuration also required. So anyone who is working on this particular area, okay, the these four modules, and this ESS and MSS module, they should learn backend SAP configuration and also the portal configuration. Nowadays, no company is implementing the talent administrations, guys. It is a SAP HR core is the most important part, okay, and that is being implemented by the companies. Particularly, SAP payroll is very successful solution, and it is a solution which is there for so many countries. You have already seen just now. Where is it? Let me show you once again. Almost more than 60 countries SAP has a inbuilt solutions, guys. There is no other technology having or covering these many countries within one server. Clear? Within one server. See how many countries we have here. There are some countries, guys, for example, um, Iran and Iraq. We do not have a standard solution. And right now I'm going to handle that project. So what we do is, there is something called international. Where is it? Yeah, international. I'm going to customize this for the Iraq project. Clear? So if there is any country which is not there in SAP list here, we still have a solution for it. You can customize this for that country. Okay, is it clear, all the submodules, guys? Any question from anyone on the submodules? Any question from anyone?
No, it's clear.
Okay, so tomorrow also we have a session. You can use the same link. Anyone has any questions, you can call me at 11 o'clock in the morning, or else in the next class we can discuss. Okay, have you all received the introduction document, all of you?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
don't
sir.
note down anything, okay, just listen and then refer to that introduction document on the topics that I covered. Okay, see you tomorrow, guys. Anyone, if any freshers are there, like BTech completed just 2021 and 22, and MBA completed in 2001 and 22, we might get a good number of openings in the month of April and May. Okay, so yeah, one more option for you guys. I mean, if you are a fresher to SAP, anyone who is really practicing in any five field that they are deserved, then I'll help you guys in place. I have already hired 20 of my students in my company. I have my own company, so they will be working with the MNC. Okay, So if I have a positions, I will be sending a messages in the group itself. But I am the first one who take the interview. Okay, before I send your profile to that companies. Clear? I need to first my interview will be there, and then client will be taking the interview. Okay. So I'm expecting 15 to 20 positions in the month of March, and for that I have already have selected 10 of 10 numbers. Um, First, we will be scheduling the interviews for them. After that, I'll be sending these messages to the past batches for the remaining 5 positions. So that is how it goes. Okay. So I can definitely help you. May not be in my company, but other companies. So I can give a references, or at least I can get the interview for you. Okay. Is it clear? So catch you tomorrow, guys. Use the same meeting link.
Okay, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.